Hey, it's Brock here from Uncommon Aquatics, and today we're going to be adding 6 new African cichlids to my fish room. And these are some of the most beautiful species that I specifically sought out. One of them I've been watching in the local pet store, and he's been holding it for me. And the others I had to order, and they're part of a breeding project. So I'm very excited about all of this. So first, let's tell you about this guy. Now, I'm exceptionally bad with scientific names, so I'm going to pull my phone out and make sure I get this right. This is a Haplochromis Nyererei. It's also listed as a Pundamilia Nyererei. Let's see, hopefully the camera is catching that scientific description of it, and that is what the fish looks like. Now, mine might be colored down a little bit. His colors have been beautiful in the pet store. Their coloration can depend on how safe they feel and how dominant they feel within their tank. Now, you might be looking at this little 55-gallon and seeing that there's already 19 African cichlids in there and thinking, what is this guy doing adding another one? Because these aren't full-grown fish. These are 4-inch fish that can get to 6 and 7 inches. The reason I'm doing this is tomorrow, well, actually, I'm starting today. Today, I'm building a new stand, and tomorrow I'm setting up a new, larger aquarium that these fish are going in. That'll be what you see over my next 2 or 3 videos, is the process of building them a hardscape in their new tank and then getting them moved over. So I went ahead and picked this guy up today, and hopefully he gets along in here. At the pet store, he was aggressive and chasing another fish with similar coloration that was actually a different species, but had kind of a similar look. But he's mid-size in this tank. We've got much smaller Africans, and then we've got about 4 fish that are much larger. So anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get him out of the bag. All right. To reduce the stress on the amount of attacks he gets, we're going to put a little bit of fish food in before letting him out of the bag. That hopefully distracts them a little bit. And there he is. This tank needs an algae scrub and a little bit of cleaning. It's due for a water change. But what I'm going to do is set the other aquarium up, take these cycled filters, put them on the new aquarium, take cycled media out of this tank and others, put in there, and move all these fish in there with their new hardscape tomorrow. And then we've got a new project coming for this tank. This is something very different, not like anything else I have in the aquarium in the fish room. So let me get some close-up footage of the new fish so you can see how mine looks. Okay, so his colors are very muted. So he's got the bright yellow on his underside, but the top side is kind of a light pink. In the store, he was flame red, just like in the pictures I showed you. And maybe in an hour or a day or a week, he'll be red in here again. But he's just spent 40 minutes in a bag, and he's in a new tank, and he's not sure about things. I'm really pleased with the selection I've put together of these African cichlids. I don't always remember all of their names, but there's a lot of cool species mixed in here. African cichlids have never historically been my favorite fish to keep. Really, I haven't focused much on them. I've only had them a little here and there in smaller tanks. But the longer I've had this set up, the more I like it, and the more I think I'm going to end up, not just with the larger tank they're getting tomorrow, but with a really big African cichlid tank. There's so much color variation and species variation for such a wildly active fish. Now, you do have to deal with aggression problems and some chasing, especially if there's breeding. They have their own hassles that go along with them, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous group of fish. So now, let's see what the other fish that I got today are. The other fish that I'm adding here are Dubois tropheus. These tropheus, I think, are awesome. I really love they've got kind of a unique look to them, even among African cichlids. And these have a very different look as juveniles compared to adults. Now, I ordered 6 of these because you can always lose fish when you get them small, and it's hard to, guarantee you get a male and a female, so you want at least 4. I went for 6. 5 of them survived at the pet store the first couple days, and they are the group you see here. This was the Salvini tank. Speaking of which, you guys remember I had the pair of Salvini in here and the male went crazy and tried to kill the female? You might be wondering how that female's doing. That female looks like a completely different fish. All the sides are back, the color is coming back, the fins are growing back. She's really looking good. And that left the male up here by himself, and I thought about trying him in some of the different tanks and decided not to. I traded him in as part of my purchase on these new Africans, and hopefully he finds a new home. But I only want 1 Salvini if I don't have a breeding pair. So I'm going to flatten all this rock back down and do a water change and then let these guys out. So I got the water change done. And there are the Tropheus. That's zoomed in too close there. There's 2 of them. They're kind of spread around. There's a couple more. So here's more of a clear image of what this fish looks like when it's young. This is exactly what mine look like today, even though they're a little bit hard to see in that tank. But this is what that same fish looks like as an adult. And it's really a remarkable transformation, and that makes it even more of a cool fish. Something else to keep in mind about this fish is even though it's a cichlid, and actually this is true of a lot of African cichlids, but especially the Tropheus, these are not a carnivore. This is an omnivore, but primarily they want to eat a lot of vegetable matter, and if you don't give them that, it will cause them health problems. So now, the Nyererei has been in there for half a day, and that pale peach is kind of a light red, but he can get a lot darker than that, and I bet he will as he's in here longer and gets more comfortable. Now the plan with the Tropheus up there is to get a breeding pair and then separate those out and continuously breed in that tank, and then I'll need fry grow out tanks, and then probably one of the Tropheus will go into the main African cichlid tank, and then there'll be a couple left that I'll either trade to someone else or take back to a pet store. So I got 5, but I only really needed 2. African cichlids are awesome. I completely see why they're so popular in the hobby. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.